Have you ever been playing a video game, I mean really playing it, and suddenly realized you feel like you're, well, living through a movie, not just watching it, but actually in it?
Yeah, like you're the one making those split-second decisions in a huge action scene.
Exactly. That's the feeling we're diving into today, looking at a game that pretty much perfected it. Uncharted 4, A Thief's End.
Naughty Dog.
Right. Its creators, Naughty Dog, they didn't just want to make another great game. They actually called it a playable summer blockbuster.
Which is a pretty bold claim, you know.
It is, and it means something specific for us, the players. It means the experience was designed from the ground up to pull you in, to make you feel that cinematic thrill.
And that's our mission today, isn't it? To really get under the hood and understand how they managed such an ambitious thing.
Yeah, we're taking a deep dive. We're looking at the creative choices, the tech, some real groundbreaking stuff, and the narrative risks they took.
Risks that really elevated Uncharted 4 beyond just being a sequel. It became like a masterclass in the whole cinematic gameplay idea.
And we'll be exploring this concept called remediation. Sounds academic, but it's actually fascinating.
It is. It's basically how a newer medium, like video games, grabs the essence of an older one, like film, and then, well, twists it, transforms it into something interactive and totally unique.
And listen, this is going to be interesting for you because it's not just about tech specs or how nice the graphics look, though they are amazing.
Oh, they're incredible.
But we're digging into the artistry, how these developers meticulously create curiosity, how they build that nail-biting tension, how they keep raising the stakes.
And how they managed to have a really meaningful conversation, not just in the story, but through the actual design, the development, everything.
Yeah, it creates this really deep emotional connection, doesn't it? You feel invested.
Absolutely. And Uncharted 4 is the perfect storm for this kind of analysis.
Yeah.
Because of where it sits in the series.
It's the end, right? Or maybe the end.
Exactly. It's positioned as the emotional, possibly final chapter for Nathan Drake. And that just adds this huge layer of weight.
Emotional weight, yeah. And a massive creative responsibility for Naughty Dog. They had to get it right.
They did. And that pressure, that responsibility, you feel it. It translates into this incredibly personal investment for us, the players. We've been with Drake for years.
You want to see his story through. You need that closure.
Precisely. It sets the stage for something really special.
Okay, so let's unpack this whole idea of cinematic games. Because when you hear that phrase, I think, for a lot of people, the first thing that pops into their head is maybe amazing graphics.
Right, or those really polished cutscenes, the non-interactive bits.
Yeah, exactly. But the sources we've looked at suggest it's way deeper than that. It's a richer concept.
It really is.
So what does it actually mean for a game to feel filmic? To genuinely resemble film across the board, visuals, story, and importantly, how you actually play it?
It's about sharing what you could call a filmic language. It seeps into everything. The visuals, sure, but also the narrative structure, the pacing, even the moment-to-moment gameplay.
Like camera angles or editing.
Exactly. How a film uses framing to make you feel something, or cuts to build tension. Cinematic games borrow that toolbox. But here's the absolute key difference, and this is where that remediation idea you mentioned comes in strongly.
Okay.
A film is predetermined, right? You sit back and watch. A video game, fundamentally, is interactive. So it doesn't just copy film. It renegotiates film. As scholars like Bolter and Grusin put it, It takes filmic ideas and interprets them, incorporates them, but in a way that works with interactivity.
So it's not just imitation.
Not at all. It's transformation.
Yeah.
You're not just watching the movie, you're kind of directing it with your inputs, you're acting within its framework, you're feeling the impact because you have agency.
That remediation concept really clicks then. Bolter and Grusin, you said? They saw how new media, especially digital ones, absorb and reshape older media.
Yeah, it's this active process. Taking something familiar, like cinema, and making it new, making it interactive, making it arguably more immersive in some ways because of that player involvement.
So Uncharted 4 isn't just like wearing a film's clothes. It's rethinking what a film experience can be when you hand the reins over to the player.
Exactly right. And with Uncharted 4, this wasn't just something that happened by chance. Naughty Dog was explicit about it.
They said it out loud.
They did. They called it that playable summer blockbuster. That phrase itself is a statement of intent, isn't it? It highlights this deliberate, conscious effort to blend the best of film, the storytelling, the spectacle, with the best of gaming, the agency, the interaction.
Trying to capture that blockbuster magic, but letting you be the star.
Precisely. They wanted to bottle that feeling and let you uncork it.
Okay, so let's quickly sketch out the plot, because that's the bedrock for all this cinematic stuff. We've got our hero, Nathan Drake.
Legendary treasure hunter.
Right, and he's supposedly retired, settled down, normal life with his wife Elena, done with the danger.
Or so he thinks.
Exactly.
Right.
Because, bam, his older brother Sam shows up. Our brother Nathan thought was dead for, what, 15 years?
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah.
A real ghost from the past.
And this sudden return just yanks Nathan straight back into that treasure hunting life he swore he'd left behind.
Instantly raises the stakes. Personal stakes.
Totally. Their goal: find Captain Henry Avery's lost pirate treasure, Libertalia, this mythical pirate colony hidden somewhere deep in Madagascar.
Classic Uncharted setup, right? Adventure, history, exotic locations.
But it immediately hooks you deeper this time, doesn't it? You're wondering about Sam, what really happened, and how far Nathan will go to help him, maybe risking everything he's built. It creates so much curiosity right from the start.
And that plot, while really engaging on its own, is also carrying this huge weight of intent from Naughty Dog.
The final chapter thing.
Exactly. They approached Uncharted 4 specifically as the end of Nathan Drake's story. They wanted closure, proper closure.
Which is a massive undertaking.
Huge. It meant they felt this immense responsibility, they said, to be true to what has come before, to honor these characters they'd spent a decade creating, tell their stories honestly.
That commitment, you feel it. It's not just another sequel. The stakes feel final.
Yeah.
For the studio, and definitely for the players who are so invested, you desperately want them to stick the landing.
It creates this palpable tension right from the opening moments.
Yeah.
This isn't just another adventure, it's the adventure.
It makes it so much more personal. The emotional investment just skyrockets. It's not just about the treasure anymore. It's about Nathan's soul, almost.
Which leads us right into talking about Drake himself.
Yeah, let's get into Nathan Drake. Because a huge part of why Uncharted 4 works, why the whole series works, is him. He's not your typical action hero, is he?
Not at all. He's not invincible. He's not stoic. He gets roughed up.
Right. From the very first game, they made a point of showing him as just a normal guy trying to do the best he can. That's a quote from the teeth.
And you see it constantly. He gets punched. It hurts. He falls. He struggles to get back up. He gets tired. He complains. It's very human.
Which makes his survival feel earned, you know? It builds suspense in every single encounter because you genuinely believe he could fail.
And that relatability is it's incredibly powerful. People connect with Drake because they kind of want to be that guy, the everyday person who gets to go on these wild adventures.
Living out that fantasy.
Exactly. You want to see the messes he gets into, but more importantly, you want to see how his smarts, his grit, get him out of them. That everyman vibe makes the extraordinary feel grounded.
You're not just watching a superhero. You're right there with him, feeling the bumps and bruises. His stakes feel like your stakes.
And it's interesting how that connection deepened as the developers themselves aged.
That's a great point. Their life experiences started showing up in the games.
Yeah, as the Naughty Dog team matured, so did their characters. Drake literally aged across the series. He became more complex, more sophisticated.
And the tech helps show that, right? Not just for spectacle.
Absolutely. The jump to PS4 allowed for insane detail. They talked about rendering the subtlety of wrinkles, skin pores. It wasn't just graphical flair. It was about humanizing him, showing the physical toll of his life.
You see the history on his face. It adds this layer of weariness, maybe. Makes you wonder how much more he has left in the tank.
Which brings us to the catalyst for this whole game, Sam Drake.
Nathan's brother. The one presumed dead.
His reappearance after 15 years just completely upends Nathan's world, forces him back into the life he tried to escape.
It's such a powerful hook. Instant intrigue, instant tension. What happened to Sam? Why now?
And it's a brilliant use of a classic narrative trope, actually. It's remediation again, pulling from film.
The dead ally returns trope.
Exactly. Think Gandalf in Lord of the Rings, or even Jason Bourne, presumed dead or missing. It's used here specifically to increase narrative tension and intrigue, according to our sources.
But it's more than just a plot twist, isn't it? Sam represents something specific for Nathan.
He really does. Neil Druckmann, one of the directors, described Sam as representing a past version of Nathan. Nathan before he settled down, before Elena, before maturity.
So Nathan is literally confronting his past, his younger, maybe more reckless self.
Yeah, it creates this incredibly powerful internal conflict, which then creates this impossible dilemma for Nathan.
Help his long-lost brother, which means lying to his wife and risking everything.
Or maintain the quiet life he promised Elena, essentially abandoning his brother.
The stakes become intensely personal. It's not just about treasure, it's about family, loyalty, promises. His whole family unit, as the Debs called it, Elena. Sully gets pulled into this danger.
It ramps up the emotional tension to unbearable levels. You're constantly wondering how he's going to navigate this, what choices he'll make.
It also uses that other film trick, the 10-minute retirement.
Yeah, he barely gets his feet up before Sam walks back into his life.
It's like Spider-Man 2, right? The hero tries to quit, but the world just pulls them back in. It's efficient storytelling, gets us right back into the action, reminding us this is Drake's destiny.
And this whole situation forces Drake to confront his age and experience in a way he hasn't before.
It's not just the wrinkles, then.
No, it's mental and emotional too. The tech lets them show the physical effects, making him feel real and vulnerable. That visual representation of aging builds a subtle anxiety.
But he's also growing in, what do they say, wisdom?
Yeah. He starts questioning the chase, the obsession with treasure. He starts sounding a bit like Sully with the whole "I'm too old for this sheet" vibe.
Which Sully's been saying forever.
Right. But now Nathan's feeling it too. He's thinking long term, about his future, about what actually matters beyond the next adrenaline rush.
That internal struggle makes the story so much richer. It makes you think, is this really the last time? What happens after?
So what it all adds up to, for you, the player, is this transformation. It's not just an action game anymore. It becomes a meaningful human story with complex relationships.
Getting into themes like self-destruction, compulsion, what makes life worthwhile. Heavy stuff for a blockbuster game.
But handled so well.
Yeah.
It invites you to reflect alongside Nathan. It makes the whole experience resonate on a much deeper level.
And the relationships around him evolve too, especially Elena.
Absolutely. Elena Fisher isn't just the tag-along adventurer anymore. She's changed.
She was always capable, but now she's more cautious.
Exactly. She started out super passionate, very gung-ho, but through the series, she's become more aware and more cautious about the real cost of this life, the danger, the loss.
Her concern for Nathan becomes a huge source of tension, doesn't it? You feel her anxiety, her fear for him. It raises the stakes for his choices.
And this depth wasn't just invented. The developers talked about how their own lives, their own sacrifices, making these massive games.
The hard work, the grueling work.
Yeah, all that personal cost was funneled into the art. It gave the characters more depth, made the story feel more human, more earned.
You feel that personal investment from the creators. They said walking away from these characters was very hard for them.
And that comes through. It creates this authenticity.
And you see that raw emotion play out in key scenes, like that motel scene, chapter 11.
Oh, yeah. Gut-wrenching.
Elena finds out Nathan lied about the trip, about helping Sam. And their marriage, their trust, just cracks right open.
The emotional stakes in that room are sky high. It's not about pirates or treasure then, it's about their relationship crumbling. It feels incredibly real, like something from a serious drama film.
But then you also have the lighter side, the dynamic between Nathan and Sully.
The classic buddy cop dynamic. Their banter, their friendship.
It provides that essential comic relief, right? Which is another film trope.
Absolutely. It helps orientate the viewer, or player in this case, breaks the tension, lets you breathe before the next crazy sequence. It's about managing that rhythm, keeping you engaged on multiple levels.
It's such a skillful balance. High drama, high action, and real heart.
Which really speaks to Naughty Dog's evolution as a studio.
Yeah, let's talk about that journey, because Naughty Dog didn't just appear making these cinematic masterpieces. They grew into it.
Definitely. They started with, Jack and Daxter. Great games, but very different tonally.
Bright, colorful platformers.
Then they transitioned into the first Uncharted, which was a big leap into more realistic action-adventure. And then, critically, they made The Last of Us.
Which felt like another huge shift. Darker, more mature, emotionally devastating.
And each of these projects was about learning something new, pushing themselves. They talked about wanting to tackle a new thing to learn, a new thing to accomplish, even going into areas that felt uncomfortable.
That constant self-challenge is probably why they kept innovating. It keeps you curious about what they'll do next.
And what's really fascinating is how those projects fed into each other. Making The Last of Us was apparently refreshing for them after the spectacle of Uncharted.
Oh, so?
It allowed them to explore storytelling on a really intimate character level, focusing so intensely on Joel and Ellie's relationship, the quiet moments, the vulnerability.
Less about giant explosions, more about human connection.
Exactly. And that experience, focusing on nuance and character depth, significantly influenced a lot in making a more personal story with Uncharted 4. They learned that quiet intensity could coexist with the big set pieces.
Adding those layers of emotional resonance that really made Drake's final journey hit home.
Right, but even with that influence, Uncharted still had its core DNA, those three pillars they always talked about.
Combat, traversal, and puzzles.
Yeah. And here's a key insight they shared. They didn't design around the big set pieces. They didn't start by saying, let's make a cool train sequence.
Really? Because those are the moments everyone remembers.
They are, but the focus was always on getting the core gameplay really, really solid. Making climbing feel good, making shooting feel good. The big set pieces, like that Uncharted 2 train sequence, actually spawned from advancements in the core tech.
Like what?
Like getting Drake to interact convincingly with moving objects. Once they nailed that technology, then they could build something spectacular like the train level around it.
That's fascinating. It's foundation at design. Which makes you curious how many cool ideas came directly from just playing with the tech.
Exactly. Which leads us to the tech itself, especially that massive jump between consoles.
Right, the PS3 to the PS4. You said earlier it was a struggle.
Oh, it was a huge struggle. Very difficult, according to the team. The PS3 had that unique cell architecture. Powerful, but really tricky to work with.
And the PS4 was totally different.
Completely different, more like a PC. So they suddenly had way more memory, going from maybe 512 megs on PS3 to 8 gigs on PS4, but they had to figure out how to fill it, how to utilize that power effectively.
Yeah.
It was a massive challenge.
Like going from a garden shed to a warehouse and needing to fill it with detail, that must have really raised the stakes for the tech team.
Absolutely. And they admitted they were surprised by just how big that leap was going to be.
Yeah.
But it unlocked incredible potential.
Higher level of detail you mentioned.
Massively higher. Texture resolution at least 4 times larger than Uncharted 3. They developed new, physically based shaders to make materials look real metal, cloth, skin, dirt.
And the character models. That face detail.
Okay, get this. Nathan Drake's face alone in Uncharted 4 used 800 animation bones.
800. Just for the face.
That's for the face.
Yeah.
For comparison, his entire body in the previous games had about 250 bones.
Wow. That's an incredible level of fidelity focused purely on expression. You immediately wonder how that changes the acting, the storytelling.
It changes everything. Which brings us to motion capture. Naughty Dog was always pushing mocap, even on PS3.
It was cutting edge back then.
But for Uncharted 4, they took it even further. It wasn't just about capturing voice and basic movement. It was about capturing intricate physical acting.
That kinesthetic index idea, the body language.
Exactly. The subtle shifts in weight, the gestures, everything that conveys emotion non-verbally. Actors weren't just standing in a booth, they were performing full scenes on the mocap stage, moving around, interacting.
Like theater, almost, but captured digitally.
Pretty much. It was revolutionary for game development at the time. It blurred the lines between filmmaking and game making.
And the result of that, combined with the crazy facial detail,
Is that you get these incredibly detailed close-ups during cutscenes that show everything. Subtle wrinkles, skin pores, micro-expressions. The acting becomes, as one source put it, completely indistinguishable from the acting present in film.
which just pulls you deeper into the characters' heads, raises the emotional stakes of every glance, every frown. It feels incredibly intimate.
So you have this micro-level detail, but then you also have the macro-level design, how they built the world.
They didn't just want to make Uncharted 3 bigger, right?
No, they wanted to widen the scope of the gameplay, which led to this wide linear design philosophy.
Wide linear. Okay, what does that mean?
It means giving the player more freedom, bigger spaces to explore, but still guiding them along a specific narrative path.
Ah, okay. So it feels open, but it's actually quite directed. That sounds like a real challenge to design.
It was a huge challenge. How do you offer more choices, levels maybe 10 times the size of older games, but keep the pacing just as intense? How do you tell a very specific story with very specific tension when the player can wander off?
That's a tightrope walk. It definitely ups the ante for the level designers and writers to make it work seamlessly.
And their solution was clever. They explained that while you might have 3 or 4 different ways to get to an objective.
Different paths through an area, maybe.
Exactly. But you still have to get there. And crucially, every single one of those paths is handcrafted, well-designed. It creates the illusion of broad freedom while ensuring the story keeps moving at a very fast pace.
Which leads us back to that idea of the developer and player both being directors, in a way.
Yes, that concept from the thesis we looked at is so insightful here. The cinematic experience isn't just made by Naughty Dog, It's co-created with the player.
Okay, break that down, the developer role first.
So the developer, director, actor,
Yeah.
that's Naughty Dog, they provide the player with the story and set of gameplay encounters, created and designed in full detail. They build the world, write the script, define the characters, set the stage. Like a historian laying out the evidence, as one scholar compared it.
They provide the canvas and the paint.
Precisely. But then you have the player, director, actor. That's you.
And what's my role?
You define your cinematic gameplay experience by playing the game, by making gameplay decisions, by choosing how you interact. You become the actor, spectator, and director all at once. You interpret the scene, you perform the actions, you personalize the narrative through your choices.
Even small choices, like which way to go?
Even small choices. It's this constant interplay, this dance between the authored experience and the player's agency that makes Uncharted 4 feel so immersive and allows for such a meaningful connection. You're not just consuming the story, you're actively shaping your experience of it.
Okay, let's dig into the artistry behind the visuals and sound, because that's where so much of that cinematic feeling comes from. Starting with the camera, the viewpoint.
Right, the focalization. Uncharted 4 uses what's called outer focalization, basically third-person perspective, just like most movies.
So we can always see Drake?
Exactly. Which is vital for seeing him react, seeing his vulnerability, seeing those physical effects of the journey we talked about. But the camera isn't just static behind him.
No, it moves dynamically.
It shifts constantly to communicate feeling. It might pull in tight in a narrow tunnel to make you feel claustrophobic, building tension, or it pulls way back to show a huge, stunning vista, creating awe and curiosity, or it subtly guides your eye towards a crucial clue or path.
It's like the game is directing your gaze, just like a film director would.
Precisely. It's visual storytelling. And that extends to the transitions between gameplay and cutscenes.
They're seamless, right? No loading screens.
None. It uses cinematographic montage, very similar to film editing. Because the cutscenes are rendered in real time using the game engine, they can flow directly from gameplay and back again without interruption.
Even if you die.
Even then, you get maybe 3 seconds of black screen max. It maintains that filmic montage style, keeping you locked into the experience, never breaking the immersion or the pacing.
And the interface, the HUD, plays into that too. It's super minimal.
Actively minimal, yeah. They wanted it to best mimic film. Usually all you see is your weapon and ammo.
Button prompts only show up when needed.
Exactly, and very subtly. Like a single button icon might appear when Drake and Sully need to lift something together. It's designed so you almost forget you're interacting with a game system. It lets you just be in the film.
Then there's the lighting. You mentioned the color shifts earlier.
Yeah, the expressive lighting. It's incredibly effective at setting mood. That vibrant, warm light in the Madagascar market evokes energy, life.
Compared to the clock tower.
Which uses a much darker, cooler, bluish palette. Instantly feels mysterious, maybe a bit ominous. Builds that sense of foreboding.
And during the big car chase.
The whole palette shifts to this sinister orange as chaos erupts. It visually screams danger and destruction, almost echoing films like Apocalypse Now. It's using color to crank up the tension, raise the stakes emotionally, without needing dialogue.
Let's talk about mise en scène, the environment itself. It's more than just a backdrop in this game.
Oh, absolutely. It's about making the world feel alive, making it an active participant in the story you're experiencing. It's not static, it reacts, it creates curiosity, and impacts how you play.
Like in that Madagascar market chase again. You mentioned destructible objects.
Hundreds of them. Grain bags spill when shot, changing your cover. Wooden stalls splinter and collapse if you drive into them or if they take damage. Crowds panic and flee, realistically.
So the environment is constantly changing around you during the action.
Exactly. During the car chase, you're smashing through fences, market stalls, clotheslines. The environment isn't just scenery. It reflects and affects what's happening. It actively participates in narrating the chaos and urgency. It truly raises the feeling of being in an out-of-control action sequence.
And that level of detail, that reactivity, it must force you to adapt constantly.
It does. It directly impacts gameplay. You can't just rely on one piece of cover. You have to keep moving, keep reacting to the crumbling world. It really sells the chaos and is a testament to the sheer energy that went into every single pixel. It builds tension simply through environmental interaction.
And the characters moving through this world feel so real because of that motion capture.
The kinesthetic index, again. It's why Nathan moving through a crowd, gently pushing people aside or carefully placing his hands while climbing the clock tower feels so believable. It's all based on real recorded human movements.
Even unique door animations.
Apparently so. just to add that extra layer of realism. It sparks curiosity about just how deep that commitment to detail went.
And this allows the acting itself to be directly remediated from film.
Yeah, the actors weren't just voicing lines, they were performing. Nolan North, Nathan Drake, said he was encouraged to put as much of myself into this character as possible. He called it the greatest ride of my life.
Troy Baker, Sam Drake, also talked about how surreal it was seeing their stage performances translated so perfectly into the game characters.
It creates this bridge between traditional acting and digital performance.
And combined with the facial fidelity.
You get incredible emotional nuance. Facial muscles move realistically with dialogue. But even in silence, you can see Nathan's shock or Elena's anger and sadness. It makes them feel incredibly lifelike, allowing for that meaningful, non-verbal conversation between player and character. You understand their feelings instantly.
Okay, let's not forget sound. Often overlooked, but crucial.
Hugely important. And Uncharted 4 had something like 55,000 lines of recorded dialogue and 165 minutes of cinematics. That's feature film territory.
But beyond the dialogue, how does the sound design immerse you, build that tension?
It's about making the environments dynamic and alive. They used a lot of outdoor recording to make sure places felt real, alive but not overbuilt with fake sounds.
So the ambience changes as you move.
Subtly, yes. The sound might change depending on how fast you're moving or what kind of plants you're brushing past. They used quadraphonic sound for really intricate detail. The world sounds constantly reactive. It makes you listen, makes you curious about your surroundings.
And they got really specific with some sounds, didn't they?
They did. For the vehicle sounds, they actually recorded a real Jeep driving on different terrains in California and Nevada. Dirt, gravel, mud. It all sounds authentic.
But the coolest detail has to be the grappling hook.
Oh yeah, this is great. For the sound of Drake's grappling hook, they recorded a bullwhip. Not just any bullwhip, but one made by David Morgan.
The same guy who made the bullwhips for Indiana Jones.
Exactly. It's a direct sonic homage to the franchise that obviously inspired Uncharted so much. It connects the game to its film roots on this really cool granular level. And it subtly ups the ante. Every time you use it, you feel like indie for a second.
That level of thought is incredible. It shows how deeply they considered every aspect of that cinematic feel.
Which carries right over into the gameplay itself. It's not just about looking and sounding like a movie. It has to play like one, too.
Right. And combat in Uncharted 4 feels very different from earlier games or even other shooters. It's not about hiding behind cover all the time.
No, they really wanted constant motion. They wanted players to be creative, to use the environment, less sit behind cover and shoot.
More dynamic.
And
Was that influenced by The Last of Us?
Heavily. Uncharted 4 brought in much stronger stealth elements. It gives you more choices. You can sneak past enemies, break their line of sight, avoid combat altogether sometimes.
So the enemies are smarter.
Definitely. They have different awareness states, investigating, actively fighting, searching for you if you disappear. And the AI uses nuanced decision-making. They'll try to flank you, using routes that offer them better cover. It makes each encounter feel like a tense, tactical puzzle. Do you fight? Do you flee? Do you hide?
And Drake's traversal abilities play a huge role in combat, too.
That's key. They focused on the things that are unique to Drake, especially his climbing and movement. The rope mechanic, the grappling hook, is fundamental.
How so?
It's fully integrated into just about all gameplay encounters. You can use it to swing across gaps to flank enemies, drop down for stealth takedowns, or even use it in melee combat for unique moves. It turns the environment itself into a combat tool, raising the stakes and demanding creative thinking.
And that destructible environment we talked about also forces you to move.
Constantly. Your cover can literally disintegrate around you. Those grain bags get shot, the wooden stall breaks. You have to adapt, you have to relocate. It prevents that static stop and pop shooting gallery feel. It encourages flanking, movement, outsmarting, making it feel much more dynamic and cinematic.
Traversal outside of combat also got a major upgrade, didn't it? The climbing.
Completely overhauled. They gave players an unprecedented amount of fine control.
Yeah.
You have full analog control over both of his hands, letting you place them precisely.
So it feels less automatic, more deliberate.
Much more. He moves fluidly, his weight shifts realistically, he interacts with surfaces convincingly. It makes every climb feel a bit more precarious, building tension, making you concentrate on each handhold.
And then they added vehicles in a big way. How did they make that feel like Uncharted?
That was the core question. How do you put a vehicle in Uncharted and still make it Uncharted? Their answer was integration and dynamism.
So the Jeep gets muddy.
Yeah, dust kicks up, it gets dirty, it slides realistically. Yeah. And crucially, you have full control during high-speed chases, even through dense urban cities like that Madagascar level.
Which led to evolving those big set pieces, like the convoy chase.
Exactly. Taking something that was largely scripted in Uncharted 2 and 3 and giving you control of the vehicle in Uncharted 4.
That must have been incredibly complex to build.
Immense detail required. The environments had to be convincing even when you're flying through them at high speed, smashing through things. It fundamentally raises the stakes because your driving skill determines success or failure in that chaotic sequence.
And they use the environment to guide you, even in those wide-open driving sections.
Yeah, that natural blocking. Using other cars, stalls, crowds, even dense foliage to subtly channel you along the intended path. It maintains that illusion of free will while keeping the cinematic pacing intact. All roads still lead where the story needs to go, guiding you through moments of peak tension while making you feel in control.
Beyond action, what about puzzles and interaction? How did they weave narrative into those?
Optional conversations were a big one. Learned from The Last of Us. They add more character depth.
Little moments where you can just chat with Sully or Elena.
Exactly. You can poke around in an intriguing environment, trigger these side conversations. It lets you explore the relationships, hear extra banter, get more insight into their thoughts. It allows for more meaningful conversation between you and the game's world.
And even though those conversations don't change the main plot,
they give players a sense of choice and expression. They make you feel more invested in the story because you chose to engage, you chose to listen. It's that player-director role again, choosing how much narrative detail you want to absorb. It builds curiosity about the characters.
Puzzles, too, they felt more integrated, less like stopping the game for a brain teaser.
Totally. The notebook Drake uses for clues is completely grounded in the game world. It doesn't pull you out to a separate menu screen. It feels organic.
Like in the clock tower puzzle.
Perfect example. As you're figuring out the pirate sigils, Nathan and Sully are actively discussing the clues, reacting to your discoveries. Solving the puzzle is advancing the narrative. It makes the gameplay feel significant, part of the adventure, not separate from it. Like Indy deciphering ancient texts, it builds tension and intrigue through interaction. And finally, there are those almost invisible gameplay tweaks that directly mimic film logic.
The automatic reload.
Yeah, Nathan automatically reloads when empty or switches to a sidearm if he's out of ammo for his main gun.
Which just keeps the action flowing.
Exactly. It creates a sense of flow, reduces frustration, and perfectly matches that action movie trope where the hero never seems to worry about reloading mid-firefight. It keeps the tension high.
And the bulletproof hero idea, he's not literally bulletproof, but
he's nearly bulletproof as long as the player keeps moving. It's a brilliant mechanic.
Have so.
It actively encourages you to play aggressively, to push forward, to be dynamic, just like an action hero would. It makes the gameplay feel more cinematic and spectacular because moving forward is rewarded. Static cover shooting is punished. It translates that familiar action genre role directly into a core gameplay loop, raising the stakes of standing still and rewarding bold movement.
It all just weaves together so seamlessly. The story, the visuals, the sound, the gameplay, all serving that cinematic goal.
It really does. Which brings us to wrapping up this deep dive. We've journeyed through how Uncharted 4 masterfully remediates film. It's in the narrative, the visuals, the sound, the gameplay mechanics, every single layer.
It's this incredible balancing act, isn't it, between letting you enjoy it like a movie passively and making you an active participant, actively driving the experience.
A dance carefully choreographed by Naughty Dog, but profoundly experienced and personalized by us, the players. Every element feels designed to spark curiosity, build that tension, raise the emotional stakes, and ultimately create a truly meaningful conversation between the game and the player.
And the results speak for themselves. Universal acclaim, Game of the Year awards everywhere.
Sold over 18 million copies. It's cemented as one of the greatest video games ever made.
And the people involved felt that weight, that significance. Nolan North calling it the greatest ride of my life.
You really sense that deep personal investment. The developers talked about that bittersweet feeling, knowing this might be the last one you're going to make after a decade with these characters.
That must create immense pressure.
It spurred this drive for nothing less than perfection, they said. They funneled all that emotion, that sense of responsibility, into the medium. It raised the stakes for them creatively, and you feel that passion in the final product.
So the final thought for you, our listener. What does this all mean? Think about Uncharted. Think about the iconic image maybe of Nathan Drake making one of those impossible leaps, arms flailing, just barely grabbing the ledge.
That moment of pure tension, vulnerability, and then triumph. It kind of sums up the whole experience.
Yeah, so think about your own favorite games. How do they make you feel like you're part of something epic, something cinematic? What are the subtle tricks, the design choices that pull you in, raise your stakes, make you feel every moment of the adventure? How do they create that curiosity and tension for you?
Because for Naughty Dog, that whole process, the challenge, the discovery, they said making video games is our adventure. It's our Uncharted.
And for us, getting to dive deep into these incredible creative achievements, well, that's an adventure in itself.